The morning sun filters through the trees, casting golden patterns across the gorilla habitat. It's quiet, peaceful, just another day. Birds chirp, sprinklers tick. A young zookeeper walks the edge of the enclosure, clipboard in hand, radio crackling softly at her waist. She hums to herself. Routine checks, feed rotations, all normal. Then she stops. Something's off. The troop is scattered but subdued. No chest beating, no foraging, just watching. And then she sees her. Marula, the oldest member of the troop, the matriarch, the grandmother, respected, revered, loved. She lies in her usual corner, limbs folded beneath her. But she's not asleep. She's not breathing. Her eyes are open, vacant, unblinking. The keeper's voice falters as she whispers Marula. She climbs carefully onto the service path, approaches with slow steps. One hand touches her radio, the other trembles at her side. Unit 5-2 main. Possible medical emergency at gorilla habitat, she says, barely louder than a breath. The other keepers arrive quickly. Too quickly. One look confirms what they all feared. Marula is gone. No trauma, no struggle, just stillness. She passed sometime in the night. A heavy silence descends over the staff. Heads bow. One keeper wipes a tear and turns away. The decision is made to wait before removal, to observe, to give the troop time. But the gorillas have already noticed. A silverback near the rock wall utters a low, guttural hum. Not a threat, not a call, but something mournful, soft, elongated, almost like a song. Another younger female stays rooted, her eyes locked on the body. She doesn't move, doesn't blink, no one dares speak. Marula had been the foundation of this troop for over 3 decades. She raised 3 infants, broke up fights, soothed anxiety with her presence alone. Every member knew her touch, her scent, her strength. Now she lies motionless, and the air has changed. Zookeepers retreat to the outer walls, keeping distance. They're trained to avoid anthropomorphizing animals, to not project human emotion onto wild behavior. But this feels like grief. Something ancient and deep, older than words. Minutes stretch into hours. The troop doesn't scatter. They gather slowly, silently. One adolescent male approaches her first, crouching low. He doesn't poke or prod. He simply sits. His hand touches her arm, then retracts. Another joins, then another, until a loose semicircle has formed around the body. Visitors arrive on the morning tram. Excited chatter echoing through the park until they see the staff blocking the gorilla exhibit. A sign reads, "Temporarily closed." Habitat under observation. Behind the glass, the gorillas remain still. The troop doesn't eat, doesn't play, only watches, only waits. Inside the staff building, the head of primate care makes a decision. Let's record this. All of it. We're not interrupting unless safety demands it. Cameras are turned on. Scientists are called, but for now, no one understands what's happening. All they know is that a gorilla has died and that her family refuses to leave her side. The air hangs heavy over the gorilla enclosure. Hours have passed and still no one moves to take Marula's body away. The troop hasn't left. A young juvenile shifts his weight, creeping forward. His hand brushes the straw, trembling. He stops at her side and sits. Then he reaches out and begins to groom her gently, methodically. His small fingers comb through fur that no longer rises and falls. He doesn't tug. He doesn't fidget. It's slow, rhythmic, purposeful. Keepers exchange glances through the observation window. One lifts a camera slowly, catching the moment. Then comes another. A large female approaches from the rear, stepping with caution as if the very ground feels different. She pauses, then places her forehead to Marula's back, eyes closed, breath steady. She stays there for several minutes before retreating. It's not chaos, not confusion, it's ceremony. One by one, each gorilla steps forward. Some touch Marula's hand. Some press their heads against hers. Others crouch just feet away, bodies still, faces unreadable. A silverback kneels at the edge of the group. He beats his chest once, twice, not the thunderous display of dominance. This is slower, measured, a heartbeat, a farewell. The staff remains frozen. They've never seen anything like this. No vocalizing, no aggression, one note's allowed, scribbling on a clipboard. It's coordinated or instinct, another whispers. Or reverence, says a third. Onlookers gather beyond the closed viewing area. They can't see much, but word spreads. Phones point toward the glass. Rumors ripple through the crowd. Inside, the troop stays locked in their vigil. A young female begins to pull straw from nearby bedding and lays it carefully around Marula's shoulders. Not tossed, placed. Her actions are hesitant, precise, almost sacred. And then something even more startling happens. A silverback moves to the center of the formation. He stands tall, eyes closed. Slowly he turns in place, arms lowered as if scanning each member of the group. Then he lowers himself beside Marula, leans into her chest, and rests his head. A hush falls over the entire enclosure. There are no zookeeper instructions for this. No manual, no protocol. Do they interfere? Remove the body before decomposition begins, or wait. A supervisor makes the call. We let them finish. Whatever this is, they need it. Staff step back. No movement from the gorillas, only ritual. It goes on for hours. By mid-afternoon, the circle has solidified. Not one member wanders. No one plays. No grooming, no food, only this stillness, silence, and the scent of loss. What is this? Not instinct alone, not fear. This is something more ancient, a kind of unspoken language that humans forgot, a communion, a rite. And the world, watching through the eyes of digital cameras and trembling zookeepers, begins to understand. Marula's death is not the end of something. It's the beginning of a story no one expected of grief that looks like ours. Late afternoon. The sun shifts overhead, casting long shadows across the enclosure. But the gorillas still haven't moved. Marula's body lies untouched in the center of the circle, except for one thing: leaves. Dozens of them. A young female known for her playful antics walks slowly toward a low-hanging branch. She pulls a single green leaf from the stem, then another. She clutches them close to her chest, crosses the clearing, and kneels beside Marula. Delicately, she places the first leaf over Marula's shoulder, then the second across her hand, then another on her chest. It is not random. It is deliberate. Keepers watching from the blind gasp. One whispers, "She's covering her." Another gorilla joins her. He doesn't touch the body. He brings a twig instead, thick and smooth, and lays it near Marula's side. Then he backs away. Soon they all begin to move. Not all at once, not chaotically, but in turn, each member selecting leaves, branches, bits of straw. They carry them back in silence and place them around her layer by layer. It takes time. It takes care. What they're building is not a pile. It's a shroud, a burial. Staff remain at the perimeter, frozen. Cameras roll. Phones buzz in pockets, ignored. The only thing anyone can hear is the soft rustle of foliage. The occasional exhale of a gorilla, placing something with precision. The display is not symbolic to them. It's sacred. By late day, Marula is mostly covered. Her hands, her chest, even her face, gently hidden beneath layers of leaves and straw. Just one hand remains visible. A childlike member of the troop crawls forward. He stares at it, confused, unsure. Then he places a single flower, a yellow dandelion picked from the grass near the wall. Keepers weep. Even the scientists stop taking notes. Nobody expected this. The troop finishes. Then, as if by signal, they retreat. One by one, they step back from the body. Some turn away, others linger. But no one touches her again. They form a loose semicircle nearby and sit facing her. No sound, no movement, just presence. For nearly an hour, they remain that way. A keeper radios the director. They haven't eaten. They haven't moved. They're just sitting. The response is simple. Close the exhibit now. The glass is covered. Signs are posted. Private moment. Please respect the troop. Outside, confused visitors are gently turned away. Some protest, but others understand. Word spreads. Whispers of what's happening behind the glass float through the crowd. Back inside, the gorillas stay still as the sun begins to set. Golden light filters through the enclosure, bathing the covered body in warmth. Finally, a juvenile stands, walks to the highest rock, and sits his back to the troop, his eyes toward the fading sun. He raises his chin and lets out a low, echoing cry. It's not loud. It's not angry. It's goodbye. The footage hits the internet before sunrise. By noon, it's everywhere. Clips of gorillas placing leaves over Marula's body loop endlessly on news broadcasts, social media, and university forums. A single frame, Marula's hand, partially covered, a juvenile laying a flower beside it, becomes the image of the day, and the world cannot look away. CNN runs a headline, "Grief in the Wild or Something More." The BBC calls it the most human moment captured in a zoo. Within hours, scientists start weighing in. Primatologists, anthropologists, grief experts. Everyone has a theory. None have answers. Some call it ritual. Others call it instinct. Some say it's proof of culture, a behavior passed down, not born. But no one can deny what they saw. A troop of gorillas mourning their matriarch in a way that mirrors ancient human rites. Dr. Alina Stowe, leading primate behaviorist, appears on a live stream panel. This isn't just emotion. This is cognition. This is memory. This is mourning. Still, skeptics emerge. Are we projecting? One op-ed asks, is this real grief or just mimicry? But the footage keeps playing. The flower, the circle, the silence. It's hard to argue with grief you can feel through the screen. Meanwhile, the zoo is overwhelmed. Emails flood in. Thousands from every continent. Some simply say thank you. Others share their own stories of loss. People describe funerals, grandparents, pets, children. They draw connections that transcend language and species. Children send artwork, drawings of Marula covered in leaves, other gorillas crying, little hearts in the corners. A poem goes viral. She lay in silence. They did not flee, but stayed to show what love might be. In leaves and twigs, their hands spoke loud. No words, just grief. A gentle shroud. A famous actor shares the footage with a caption, "We don't own empathy. We share it." The zoo director, stunned, releases a short statement. "We are humbled by the world's response. Marula was loved here and clearly far beyond our walls." But the troop remains the same, subdued, quiet, changed. They haven't returned to normal routines, no loud displays, minimal play. Meals are slow, scattered. It's as if they're in mourning still, carrying the weight of what happened. Then, on the third day, after Marula's passing, something new. A young gorilla climbs to the highest ledge in the enclosure. It's the same juvenile who cried out during the farewell. He stands tall, eyes scanning the zoo below, and he lets out a long, deep call. It echoes through the concrete and glass, through the trees and halls, through the hearts of the staff standing nearby. Visitors stop walking. Phones go up again, not for spectacle, but reverence. One child whispers, Hayes still saying goodbye. Inside the zoo's staff wing, scientists gather around a paused frame on the monitor. The gorilla on the ledge, the light behind him, the covered body in the foreground. Dr. Sardo presses a finger to the screen. This changes everything. 5 days have passed. Marula is gone, but her presence lingers. The zoo is quiet this morning. No visitors, no tours, just staff and the troop. At the edge of the gorilla habitat, zookeepers gather in a semicircle. A young keeper steps forward, cradling a small sapling in her arms. A tree, a memorial. They dig a shallow hole just beyond the enclosure fence and gently press the roots into the soil. The plaque beside it reads, Marula, matriarch, guardian, beloved. Inside the habitat, the gorillas watch. Not curiously, not fearfully, just watching. The same young juvenile who laid the flower sits nearest to the spot where Marula had rested. He doesn't move. His hand presses gently into the dirt. Beside him, an elder female gently pulls leaves from a low branch, almost as if remembering. The troop hasn't been the same since. They're quieter, softer. Grooming patterns have changed. More frequent, more prolonged. Aggression is down. Sharing is up. They sit closer to each other now. Even when food is involved, something inside them shifted. The zoo documents everything. Researchers from 3 universities are already analyzing the footage. Ethologists dissect every gesture. Anthropologists compare it to tribal burial rites. Linguists are studying the vocalizations before and after the ritual. But beyond the academics, something else is happening. The world still talks about Marula. Her story has become part of something larger. A conversation about what it means to feel, to grieve, to remember. In a school in Tokyo, students write essays titled, "What I Learned from the Gorillas." In Brazil, a mural is painted on a city wall. Marula's face surrounded by leaves, a tear drawn on one side. A documentary is announced. The footage will be part of it. So will the keeper logs, the reactions, the moments captured when no one thought the world was watching. Marula, once simply the elder of a single troop, becomes something else entirely. A bridge between science and soul, between animal and human. Back at the zoo, every morning for a full week, one member of the troop walks to the memorial site and sits. Not always the same one. Sometimes the juvenile, sometimes the silverback. Once it's a pair sitting side by side in silence. They stay for several minutes, then leave. No one teaches them this. No one prompts them. They just know. It's the 9th morning when the troop finally returns to play. A hesitant tumble, a shared laugh, the sound of chest beats, strong, joyful, alive. Life begins to move forward, but something stays behind. A knowing, a memory, a presence. And as tourists return and staff resume their routines, every person who walks past the new tree seems to pause just a little longer to look, to wonder, to feel. Because what began as a silent mourning and an unexpected death became something else entirely. A message, a reminder that love does not belong to one species. That mourning is not learned, it's felt. And that even when we think the wild is silent, it speaks volumes. Some stories don't need words. They speak through silence, through stillness, through the quiet touch of a hand, even after that hand has stilled forever. Marula's farewell wasn't just a moment. It was a message for every heart willing to listen. In a world that often rushes past grief, these gorillas reminded us what it means to pause, to honor, to feel, and above all, to remember. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to believe that love exists in places we least expect. Comment below. Have you ever seen animals grieve? Like this video to help others discover Marula's story. Subscribe for more animal moments that connect us all, because sometimes the wild knows more about humanity than we do. Thanks so much for listening. See you in the next video. Have a great day.